Hello sparkly lovers, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do another literature review video. So this will be under literature review category. So you will find so many other videos, literature review in both Sinhala and English language. So we are diving into a classic piece of literature, The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. So this short story I studied for my BA in English literature module. So I want to share it with you all. I made this note from what I researched and from what I studied for this short story. So let's explore the themes, symbolism, and message behind this haunting story. So I will invite you first go through the short story again before watching this video. So it helps you a lot to get the whole idea of this literature piece. Okay, so first, let's talk a little bit about the author. So before we study any kind of literature like a novel, short story, a poetry, any kind of this literature text, literary text, we need to go through some information about the author, the time period he belongs. So it helps a lot to get the idea about what exactly the author is talking about, because these literature things, like even if it's a novel or a short story or a poetry, the author or the writer always get ideas from what he's experiencing in that time period. So it helps you a lot to go through the author and his time period, what special things happened in that period of time. So Charlotte Perkins Gilman, he was born in 1860, and he was a prominent figure in early feminist movements. So this is very important, early feminist movement. So you need to go through what this is. You have all these techniques nowadays and you can search within seconds. So you have to just to find out the right keywords and then go through it further so you can get more information. She used her writing to support for women's rights and challenge societal norms. The Yellow Wallpaper was inspired by her own experiences with postpartum depression and the inadequate treatments of her time. So in this video, I'm not gonna talk about postpartum depression in detail, but I hope many of you know. If you don't know, please go through again. My point is, I will make it a little bit short and give you all the keywords that is more helpful for you to study this short story. So I want you to highlight or write down the keywords, just like the feminist movement and now the postpartum depression. So you can just go through the internet or find out more information, and then you can expand or expose to more facts about these things. So the story features a significant exploration of mental health and gender roles and personal autonomy. So mental health, gender roles, and personal autonomy. So the story is narrated by an unnamed woman who reveals her struggles through a series of journal entries. Initially, she is diagnosed diagnosing with what was referred to as nervous condition, which is heavily suspected to be postpartum depression. So I think in that period there was no cure, or they don't take this postpartum depression seriously. So that's what they called nervous condition. But they we can be so sure about the actions or what's happening in the story that we can just suspect that this to be postpartum depression. So when we talk about the setting, the narrator and her husband John, he's a physician. He believes that the best treatment for her condition is complete rest. So you have got another keyword. So the narrator and her husband is a physician, and this is the most important part, one of the most important part, and he suggests for his wife the best treatment is complete rest. So this leads to her being confined to a room with unsettling yellow wallpaper, a space intentionally chosen for her isolation. So she was isolated from everything, and it's kind of a special room, and this yellow wallpaper. So it does a great it's a kind of a main detail in this short story, the wallpaper. The name itself of this short story is also the Yellow Wallpaper. So we will see, and we will dig in more to find out more details. So we can see that the narrator is not only physically barricaded, but is also psychologically dominated by John's controlling nature. He forbids her from writing and engaging in any form of intellectual activity, believing that this will help her recover. She's isolated from everything. So we will talk about the symbolism a little bit. Let's talk about the room first. So over time, the narrator's relationship with the yellow wallpaper shifts from disgust to obsession. So she begins to see the patterns and shapes that seem to come alive, trapping her in an ever-growing spiral of anxiety and confinement. So this room, she's just imagining some kind of shapes. I don't know, maybe you have all go through that sometimes, when we look into a wall, or sometimes when we look at the sky for a little bit long time, we can imagine, or we can see some kind of shapes that it might look like a fish or a dog or a cat, or it takes different shapes when we were looking at it for a long time. So even when you look at the tiles, or if you look in some kind of patterned wallpaper, you will see that too. So just to get an idea what it feels like. So the narrator, she begins to see the patterns and shapes that seem to come alive and trapping her in just like her anxiety and confinement is growing little by little. So the second symbolism here is the wallpaper. So within the wallpaper, she imagines a woman much like herself who is trapped there. That's the same exact thing that has happened to her. She's trapped in that room, and she was isolated for everything, and there's no connection from the outside world. So she's kind of trapped, and she compares this imagined woman just like herself that is trapped in this wallpaper. So this becomes a symbol of her own entrapment and broader theme of women's societal repression, that women were trapped and they were disconnected from the society, and it's kind of a male dominant society. Women's has no rights. And at first I told you that this author Gilman, she was a prominent figure in the early feminist movement, and they were fighting for women's rights and challenge the societal norms that was existed at that time period. So that's why I recommend you to go through the how the society was at that time period. So that helps you a lot to understand this short story very well. So the next one is the descent into madness. As her obsession with the wallpaper deepens, we can see her mental state is getting worse. So her attempts to understand the wallpaper become a desperate, like a quest for freedom and identity in this environment. So when we talk about the climatic movement of this, the narrator identified with the woman she perceives behind the wallpaper, and she embarks on a frantic mission to tear it down, an act of it's like she's trying that kind of reflects her complete mental breakdown, because she's tearing down the wallpaper and she's trying to save that trapped woman behind that yellow wallpaper. So let's go to, I will be will be short, but here in this video I will provide you with many short keywords that you can go through again in detail. So, and also if you have any kind of questions, if you want to know more things in detail, please comment down below and I will much appreciate you do that. So let's talk about the themes presented in the story. The first and major one is the mental health. So the narrator's experience illustrates the misconceptions surrounding mental illness in the 19th century. So the rest cure prescribed to her symbolizes the harmful treatment many women faced at that time period in the 19th century. So women who has, we can assume that this woman, the narrator, is going through this postpartum depression, but instead of getting her the right support as a husband, as a society, as a physician, because her husband is also a physician, so without giving her the actual necessary support, what the society has prescribed for women is the rest cure, that is totally just isolate the women from the society, total disconnect. And the male dominant society, the male has all the right, the man has all the right to make the decisions for women. So women has no right to speak up for themselves or to have a better cure for their illnesses. So you can go through this, the rest cure, which was in that time period. So, and also the gender roles. So, Gilman's story powerfully critiques the oppressive gender roles of the time. The husband's control over his wife illustrates the lack of autonomy experienced by women. So you can go more detail, but you can clearly see in this short story how the narrator's husband taking control over his wife, and how he's uh, without her permission, without giving her proper support that she needs at this time period, how he is isolating her. So, the societal norms. The narrative also highlights societal expectations of women, pushing the narrator to conform to a role that uh, get her to this depressive situation. And about the isolation. Finally, the theme of isolation is we can see throughout the story. The narrator's complete detachment from other people, including her husband, also. This culminates in her descent into a madness. So, mainly, the room serves as a metaphor for domestic confinement, an emblem of women's lack of freedom and the roles they are expected to play within the home. How they are trapped, like how small space they are given, but also under control. They don't have any sort of freedom within the society or within the house or the home or with their husbands. So it's just like this, the society at that time period, especially for women. So that's the narrator wants to talk and wants to highlight throughout this short story. So, the woman in the wallpaper, the figure that the narrator perceives as trapped behind the wallpaper, represents more than just her inner struggle. So, she symbolizes all women who are confined by the societal norms and expectations. Um, they are waiting for liberation. They are uh, just asking, and it's like how the women expecting for the liberation, because they are kind of trapped, they are struggling a lot, but all these societal norms at that time period, and how the male dominant society, how the women were treated at home, even at the society, it's so kind of a struggling situation for women. So they are expecting their freedom. So, what's the impact of the yellow wallpaper? So, this story has had a profound influence of feminist literature, serving as an early voice for women's rights and mental health awareness. So, it challenged us to consider how we see both mental illness and the historical treatment of women. So, before we wrap up, I would like to share my personal reflection. So, Gilman's work remains relevant today, serving as a reminder that mental health should be taken seriously and women's autonomy is vital. So, it encouraged us to break the silence around these issues. Also, I would love to hear your thoughts, as I mentioned earlier during this video. It's so what do you think about the themes presented in the yellow wallpaper, or how do you interpret the symbols, and share your insights in the comments below. And if you have any kind of questions or ideas or any sort of request to make, please comment down below. It helps me a lot to create future videos for you in this channel. And if you found this video useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so more literary explanations I will I would like to share in my future videos, so you will get notified when I upload a video. So thank you so much for watching. Until next time, so keep reading and reflecting. And thank you so much for watching, and do share with your friends and keep in touch.